Listen to your emotions. They're trying to evolve you. Have you ever noticed that your emotions speak the loudest when you try the hardest to ignore them? It's almost as if your heart has been whispering the truth for years, but you were too busy surviving to stop and hear it. The irony of life is this: the feelings you avoid are the exact ones that hold the power to transform you. Your emotions are not interruptions, they are invitations. Invitations to grow, to evolve, to finally understand yourself at a deeper level than ever before. So today, let's stop fighting our emotions and start listening to them, because they are not here to break you. They're here to evolve you. Your emotions are messages, not mistakes. And the moment you truly understand this, your entire relationship with yourself begins to change. Think about how many times you've judged yourself for feeling something deeply. Maybe you told yourself you were too sensitive, too dramatic, or too emotional. But what if the real problem was never the emotion itself, but the belief that you weren't supposed to feel it? Every emotion you experience is your inner world trying to communicate with you, trying to point something out that your logical mind may have missed. Emotions are your body's most ancient language, older than words, older than logic, older than all the walls you've built around yourself. When you feel anxious, that anxiety isn't trying to break you, it's trying to alert you. It's saying, hey, something here doesn't align with who you are or what you need. When you feel sadness, that sadness is proof of your capacity to care. It's proof that something held value for you. It's not a flaw, it's evidence that your heart is alive. And when you feel anger, that anger isn't about being out of control. It's your boundaries reacting to something that violated your sense of respect, safety, or self-worth. Anger doesn't mean you're a bad person. It means something crossed a line and you're being called to acknowledge it. But because society teaches us to suppress rather than understand, we learn to see these emotions as problems instead of signals. We silence anxiety by distraction, sadness by pretending we're fine, anger by forcing ourselves to stay calm. And yet, the emotions always return, louder, deeper, heavier, because the message wasn't addressed the first time. Emotions don't disappear just because you ignore them. They simply find another way to express themselves. Overthinking, burnout, shutting down, losing motivation, lashing out, or feeling disconnected from yourself. When you allow yourself to sit with an emotion rather than fight it, something powerful happens. You start to realize you are not the emotion, you are the observer of it. You're the one listening to it, interpreting it, learning from it. And that means you're not weak for feeling it, you're strong for facing it. Your emotions aren't random chemical reactions, they're reflections of unmet needs, unresolved wounds, unspoken desires, or truths you've been avoiding. They're trying to help you reclaim parts of yourself you forgot, heal parts you abandoned, and step into a more honest version of who you are. When you listen, really listen, you realize your emotions have been trying to guide you toward growth all along. They're not here to sabotage your life. They're here to evolve it. Avoiding your emotions doesn't make life easier. It only delays the version of you that's trying to break through. Most people don't realize this, but emotional avoidance is one of the biggest forms of self-delay. You're not just postponing a feeling. You're postponing your growth, your clarity, and your evolution. Every time you distract yourself instead of dealing with what's going on inside you, you push your healing into the future. And the truth is, the future version of you will have to work twice as hard to clean up what you're avoiding right now. Avoidance feels comforting in the moment because it gives you the illusion of control. You tell yourself you're fine, you bury the discomfort under work, scrolling, food, relationships, or busyness. You convince yourself that if you don't think about it, it can't hurt you. But emotions don't disappear just because you pretend they're not there. They simply go underground, and anything buried inside you will eventually grow roots. Those roots become patterns: overthinking, sudden anger, numbness, anxiety, insecurity, constant stress, or that heavy feeling you can't explain. What you avoid emotionally will always return physically, mentally, or behaviorally. Avoidance doesn't protect you, it traps you. It keeps you stuck in the same cycles, the same choices, the same reactions, the same wounds. You repeat the same relationship mistakes, attract the same disappointment, and replay the same emotional scenes, not because you're broken, but because the original feeling was never faced, understood, or released. You can't move past something you refuse to look at, and your emotions will continue to knock at your door until you finally open it. The moment you stop running from your emotions is the moment you stop running from yourself. That's where real transformation begins. When you let yourself feel something you've been avoiding, you reclaim power from the very thing that controlled you in the shadows. It's uncomfortable, yes. It's raw, yes. But discomfort is temporary. Avoidance is permanent until you break the cycle. Facing your emotions isn't about drowning in them. It's about acknowledging them long enough to understand what they're trying to say. Because once a feeling is understood, it loses its power to overwhelm you. And once a feeling is expressed, it no longer needs to chase you. Avoidance delays your evolution, but presence accelerates it. When you finally allow yourself to feel what you've spent years avoiding, you open the door to the version of you that's been waiting on the other side. Feeling is not just a reaction. It is a form of intelligence. Real intelligence is not measured by degrees, titles, or achievements. It is measured by your ability to understand yourself, to read the signals your mind and body are sending you, and to act in alignment with what you truly need. Every feeling you experience carries information about your internal world, your desires, your boundaries, and your unresolved conflicts. The problem is that most people are taught to distrust their feelings, to see them as unreliable or inconvenient, rather than as a guide. But your emotions are not random. They are your inner GPS, designed to direct you toward what will nourish you and away from what will harm you. When you feel nervous before a big decision, it's your subconscious highlighting something important that your conscious mind hasn't fully grasped. When you feel drawn to someone or something, it's your intuition guiding you toward what aligns with your values and deeper needs. When you feel uneasy in a situation, it's your body signaling that something is out of alignment with your authenticity. Feeling deeply is not weakness. It is the most honest feedback system you will ever have. It tells you what's working, what isn't, and where growth is required. Emotional intelligence is about noticing these patterns and acting on them rather than dismissing them. It's about understanding that your emotions are the language of your deeper self. Those who are emotionally intelligent make better choices because they are listening to the subtle cues that others ignore. They navigate relationships with more clarity, avoid repetitive mistakes, and make decisions that serve their long-term growth rather than short-term comfort. The more you pay attention to your feelings, the more refined this internal intelligence becomes. Feeling also connects you to others in a profound way. When you understand your own emotions, you can empathize with the emotions of others. You start to notice the subtle cues, the unspoken words, the energy shifts that reveal someone's true state of mind. This is why emotional awareness is often the difference between superficial interactions and meaningful connections. You are able to respond rather than react. You are able to communicate authentically rather than defensively. You are able to navigate life with a precision that comes from listening to what is real beneath the surface. To feel deeply is to tap into wisdom that logic alone cannot provide. Logic can solve a problem, but feeling reveals the truth. Feeling tells you whether a choice aligns with your soul, whether a person is trustworthy, and whether a path leads to growth or stagnation. Intelligence without feeling is incomplete. Feeling without understanding is chaos. But when combined, you become unstoppable. Your emotions are not obstacles to overcome. They are tools to wield. Every sensation, every wave of emotion is a clue to your next level of growth, if only you are willing to pay attention. Growth does not happen in comfort. It happens in the spaces where life pushes you beyond what you thought was possible, where your emotions feel intense, and where your mind resists, and yet your soul insists. Discomfort is not a signal to stop. It is a signal to pay attention. Every time you feel uneasy, restless, or challenged, it is life inviting you to evolve. Most people spend their lives trying to avoid discomfort, seeking safety in routines, familiar patterns, and the approval of others. But the truth is, staying comfortable will never bring transformation. Real change requires you to lean into the feelings you most want to escape. Discomfort is the doorway to self-discovery. When you face it head-on, you uncover the parts of yourself that have been hidden, ignored, or suppressed. It forces you to confront your fears, your limiting beliefs, and the stories you've been telling yourself about who you are and what you deserve. The emotions that accompany discomfort, fear, anxiety, sadness, frustration, are not enemies, they are guides. They show you exactly where you are stuck, what you need to heal, and what you are capable of achieving. Every significant breakthrough in life comes from the willingness to sit in that uncomfortable space and listen to what it has to teach. Think about the moments in your life when you grew the most. Chances are none of them happened in your comfort zone. They happened when you were pushed, when you were tested, when something didn't go according to plan. Those experiences were emotionally intense, and at the time, they may have felt unbearable. But looking back, you realize that those moments were necessary. They forced you to rise to the occasion, to develop resilience, and to discover strengths you didn't know you had. The same principle applies to emotions. Growth is always on the other side of discomfort. Your feelings are the first indicators that you are being called to evolve. Discomfort also refines your decision-making. When you face difficult emotions instead of running from them, you begin to understand the difference between temporary pain and long-term growth. You learn to distinguish fear from intuition, resistance from clarity, and avoidance from alignment. The process is not easy, and it is often messy, but it is always worth it. Each time you face emotional discomfort, you strengthen your ability to navigate life with courage, wisdom, and authenticity. You become someone who does not need to escape feelings, but can use them as tools to evolve into a higher version of yourself. Discomfort is not punishment. It is evolution in motion. The moment you stop avoiding it and start leaning in, you realize that life is not trying to break you. It is trying to elevate you. The emotions you resist most are exactly the ones that will guide you to the life you are capable of living. Your emotional patterns are not random. They are a roadmap to understanding your deepest wounds, your unmet needs, and the parts of yourself that require attention. Every recurring reaction, every trigger, every habit of feeling the same way in similar situations is a signal from your subconscious. It is pointing to experiences that have left a mark on your heart, experiences that you may not even consciously remember, but that continue to shape how you interact with the world. When you begin to notice these patterns, you begin to see your life in a new light. What once felt like chaos or coincidence becomes a guidepost for your personal evolution. Consider your reactions in relationships. Maybe you find yourself withdrawing whenever someone gets close, or maybe you react with anger or frustration at small slights. These patterns are not flaws, they are echoes of past wounds. Perhaps in childhood, your boundaries were crossed, or your needs were overlooked. Perhaps you learned to protect yourself by shutting down or pushing others away. The emotions you experience today are the echoes of those old experiences. They are trying to tell you what still needs healing so that you can respond differently now. Recognizing these patterns is not about assigning blame. It's about reclaiming control and understanding the part of yourself that has been driving your behavior unconsciously. Your emotional patterns also reveal your desires and values. When you feel consistently drawn to certain experiences, people, or activities, it reflects your authentic self. When you feel repelled or irritated, it reveals boundaries you may not have fully acknowledged. Your feelings are a direct line to your internal compass, and patterns are the repeated signals that demand your attention. Ignoring them only prolongs confusion and frustration. Paying attention, on the other hand, allows you to decode what is true for you and what is conditioned by fear or past trauma. The process of understanding emotional patterns requires patience and honesty. It means observing yourself without judgment, noticing triggers without blaming, and asking the difficult questions about why you feel the way you do. It requires listening to what your emotions are trying to say, even when it's uncomfortable or inconvenient. But the reward is profound clarity, freedom, and self-mastery. Each pattern you understand, each trigger you decode, is a step toward living intentionally rather than reacting automatically. Your emotional patterns are gifts disguised as challenges. They are the threads that, when traced back, reveal the blueprint of your inner self. They show you where you are carrying old pain, where your boundaries need reinforcement, and where your true desires lie. By paying attention to them, by listening with curiosity and compassion, you begin to break free from the cycles that have held you back and step into a life aligned with your authentic self. Listening to your emotions is not just about understanding what you feel in the moment. It is about unlocking the roadmap to your evolution. Every feeling you experience, whether it is joy, sadness, fear, or anger, carries a message. Your emotions are your personal guides. constantly signaling what aligns with your truth and what does not. They are the compass that points toward growth, healing, and transformation, if only you are willing to pay attention. Most people spend their lives reacting to emotions instead of listening to them, allowing external circumstances to dictate how they feel. But when you start truly listening, when you give your emotions the respect they deserve, you step into a completely different kind of power. A power rooted in awareness and understanding. The emotions you experience are rarely random. They are responses to your environment, your past experiences, and your internal beliefs. When you feel frustrated or restless, it is often a signal that something in your life is out of alignment with your values. When you feel drawn to certain people, ideas, or experiences, it is your intuition pointing you toward what will nurture your growth. And when you feel fear or hesitation, it is your mind protecting you from repeating mistakes or engaging in choices that are not aligned with your authentic self. Your emotions are not obstacles. They are your inner system's way of keeping you on the path toward your higher self. Listening to your emotions requires courage. It requires slowing down in a world that constantly tells you to move faster, suppress, or distract yourself. It requires asking yourself honest questions. Why am I feeling this way? What is this emotion trying to show me? What do I need to release, accept, or change? The answers often lie beneath the surface, hidden in layers of unconscious thought and old patterns. But when you are willing to dig, the clarity you gain is invaluable. It allows you to make decisions not from reaction or fear, but from understanding and alignment. This practice also deepens your relationships. When you understand your own emotions, you can communicate with clarity and empathy. You can set boundaries without guilt, express needs without anger, and connect with others on a level that is authentic rather than performative. Listening to your emotions transforms not only your inner world, but also the way you interact with the external world. Ultimately, evolution begins with listening. Your emotions are not here to punish or confuse you. They are your most faithful teachers. They are showing you where you need growth, what you need to heal, and how to step fully into your potential. The more you listen, the more you understand yourself, and the more your life begins to reflect your deepest truth. When you honor your emotions, you honor yourself. And that is the essence of true evolution, becoming someone who moves through life with clarity, courage, and conscious awareness. Every emotion you feel is a doorway to understanding yourself more deeply than ever before. We spend so much of our lives trying to control or suppress what we feel, believing that feelings are a weakness or a distraction. But in truth, they are your most authentic guides. The anger you resist, the sadness you bury, the fear you push away, all of it is trying to teach you something essential about who you are, what you need, and how you can evolve. When you start listening instead of fighting, you discover that your emotions are not random chaos. They are a roadmap to a higher version of yourself. The journey of evolution begins with attention. Every time you allow yourself to feel fully, without judgment or avoidance, you are learning to honor yourself. Your emotions are the signals that point out where healing is required, where boundaries need to be strengthened, and where growth is waiting. Life does not hand you these signals by mistake. They are invitations to step into courage, self-awareness, and authenticity. The discomfort that once scared you becomes your teacher, guiding you to make choices that align with your true self and ultimately your happiness. Understanding your emotional patterns is another key step toward transformation. Every repeated reaction or trigger is a clue, revealing what is unresolved, what is authentic, and what has been conditioning your behavior. By paying attention, you can break free from old cycles and step into conscious living. Your emotions are constantly offering wisdom, showing you what aligns with your soul, what relationships are worth nurturing, and what paths will truly serve your growth. To ignore them is to remain stuck, but to listen is to embrace evolution. Finally, evolution is not an external achievement. It is an internal revolution. When you honor your emotions, you honor yourself. You stop running from fear, hiding from sadness, or dismissing your intuition. Instead, you begin to live intentionally, make decisions with clarity, and move through life with courage and authenticity. Your emotions are not obstacles, they are the guideposts that point you toward the life you are capable of living. Listen to them, trust them, and allow them to evolve you, because that is the most powerful transformation you can ever experience. Thank you, and goodbye. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch this video. Your willingness to explore your emotions and embrace personal growth is the first step toward transformation. If this video resonated with you, don't forget to like, comment, and share it with someone who might need it too. Remember, listening to your emotions is a journey, not a one-time event. Be patient with yourself, stay curious, and keep evolving every single day. If you enjoyed this content, make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you never miss a video that can change your life. Until next time, stay aware, stay courageous, and keep growing.